A president who is willing to talk to adversaries as well as friends, because that is the only way to make peace.
The political pay that they make over meeting with Kim Jong-un,
A president
to say that he was somebody who met with adversaries all the time. Every president does. That was an extreme.
If you notice, he called Kamala Harris border
who commands respect and demands reciprocity from other nations. We need strength and savviness in the White House Situation Room, even if the crisis hits after Biden's bedtime.
Zinger.
We need a president who can be president and lead, not a puppet controlled by his or her staff. We need order in our cities, order at our border, and order restored to a world on fire. My friends, we need President Donald J. Trump back in the White House. Thank you.
No, you're out of order.
So these are the typical, convention speeches by people that most people don't know. They happen on a Monday night when most people aren't watching. I mean, it's the all-star game, break in baseball. So maybe a couple more people are watching, but it's not really gonna. So we can make a lot out of what it is. This is a guy who has a lot of money, who is, like Cenk said, a booster of JD Vance. And I would say probably a good reason why JD Vance was in Donald Trump's orbit for this selection. I don't know that's why he was selected. But I also I think that you make too much because some wealthy guy from Silicon Valley comes on stage at the Republican convention. You can make too much of it.
Yeah, just to be clear, the reason he's on is because Donald Trump is trying to get as much Silicon Valley money as he can. And he views David Sachs as the gateway to do that happen, to making that happen. That's definitely part of the reason that he picked JD Vance. So JD Vance has some of the populists. Now we think it's fake populism, but MAGA doesn't. Some of the populism, credentials within their own camp. But at the same time, he also brings in a lot of donors. They just happen to be Silicon Valley donors, not the more traditional donors. So that's why he kind of threads the needle or checks off both boxes. And if you're wondering why is David Sachs, a guy nobody's ever heard of, I mean, other than the All In podcast, Silicon Valley people know him, speaking here, it's so that Trump can get more money. It's not because he thinks the country can't wait to hear from David Sachs.
Right, and also it could be a trade-off for his support. When DeSantis, convention speaking spots, as crazy as that sounds, are important to the people who want them and have them. And so to move your support from DeSantis to Trump to say, I'm going to do X, Y, or Z money-wise, these positions are bought either with activity and action or with money straight away or with positions and stature.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say about it is there's a great irony that he mentioned, like the cabal and there's donors, and that's what Biden serves. Brother, you're literally up here giving the speech because you're a donor.
Right.
And so what you're saying is, I don't like his cabal of donors. I want my cabal of donors to be in charge instead. Right. And so, and then last thing, then he blames Biden for all the wars, Ukraine, Israel, et cetera. So what did you want to do for Biden not to support Israel when Hamas attacked, right? Because what do you mean? Should he have not, what should have Biden have done? Because Biden backed Israel completely. David Sachs agrees with backing Israel completely. So what are you complaining about? Oh, you're just making it up to make it sound like, oh, he's all bad and my guy's all good.
Exactly, and then he calls it, you saw the focus mostly on Ukraine there. He said because Joe Biden said he wanted to expand NATO. Expanding NATO, NATO has been expanding. That is the nature of NATO. US presidents and other leaders around the world have supported that. NATO members have supported it. And Ukraine was one of the countries that was going to be part of NATO as it expanded. To say that Joe Biden called Vladimir Putin to go into Ukraine with all that force and all that death and all that destruction, that is really twisting things. And I'm seeing it today as I'm speaking to people, Cenk, here at the convention on the floor and in the halls. I shouldn't say on the floor because I wasn't on the floor yet, but in the halls and in these buildings here in Milwaukee. And they're all saying that Joe Biden had a hand in what happened in Pennsylvania on Saturday. So the rhetoric and the opinion here in Milwaukee right now is that everything can be blamed on Joe Biden, including the shooting on Saturday, including Ukraine.
Yeah. So Ukraine's a complicated topic, but I agree with the bottom line. Joe Biden didn't cause Putin to invade. Putin chose to invade. Look, you can criticize how Joe Biden has handled Ukraine, and I have some critique, but pretending that Joe Biden started that war is mental, obviously.